So I want to share with you some information about our next speaker. David Schmeichel is going to talk to us about facing your inner critic and embracing love. And David is, David's he's definitely an interesting guy. I met him when he reached out to me, and I'm sure it's more than a year ago now. And I was blown away. As I looked at his profile on LinkedIn, I thought, this is really interesting. Why would David be wanting to talk to me? And the answer to that question is unfolding even as we speak. I'm just delighted every time I ask him something and he says yes. And man, I'll tell you what, when this guy shows up, all of him shows up. I mentioned just a minute ago, questioning your answers. David is very much a guy who will do that for you. He has a whole life, which has been a series of defining and redefining and redefining who he is and why he's here. His whole journey is about what we're talking about today. And he firmly believes that there's no such thing as taking too many bold actions or fearing that they may not go as you'd hoped. It's all about risk and trusting in yourself. He brings a really curious and learner's mind to every conversation, whether he's speaking or whether he's listening. He's not afraid to rock the boat. He's not afraid to ask the really tough and deep questions. And I'm really excited that he's able to join us today to share his thoughts on this concept of inner critic and embracing love. David, I'm going to turn the room over to you. There you go. You have the con, sir.
Okay, thank you. Let's see.
You all good there, David?
Yep. So you guys can hear me and see me okay?
Hear you really clear.
All right. I wouldn't be remiss to say that I'm not just a little bit nervous here, which is perfect. And I'm always present to the inner conversation around your capabilities as whoever we are and whatever we strive to do in the world. There's that voice that's like, yeah, no, you can't do that. You gotta stop this like right now. And that's the inner critic, that inadequate leader. It was created for me one day. That person, that little boy or girl that is just trying to keep you safe and stop you from hurting yourself. And there was a time where that was really important. As we get older, though, it doesn't go away. It doesn't grow with us. It stays where it's at, and it prevents us from moving forward. So what I'm going to be sharing with you is how to embrace love. And what I mean by embracing love is embracing love for yourself, what you're capable of what you bring to the table, about the reality that is you are valuable, and that what you bring to the table is something to be heard and seen by others. I really resonated with what Jen said about those shaping moments in our lives. We all have them. And so today I'm going to share with you a series of poems that I've written and that I have performed and continue to expand this idea of performance. I have it that I'm not a performer, and I continue to expand this and push the envelope around it. So it's a series of poems about my most impactful moments and the lessons within. So hindsight always being 2020. We don't really know that there's a lesson until afterwards. Well, for the last 7 years, I've been unraveling these many stories and these beliefs that I've been carrying around that have been influencing my life. the steps that I take and the ones that I don't. And it's all in an effort to answer the questions we're all asking and why we're here. What's our purpose? Why am I doing what I'm doing? What's the point of it all? And how do I find my place, my voice inside this sea of disconnection? And one thing became very clear, that your path is your choice. Our lives are directions that arise based on the choices we make. See them not as a surprise, but wise prizes in disguise. Make a choice. They're yours to take. And get that life begins when you celebrate the decisions you make. You. And I'm probably going to get emotional on a couple of these, so just throwing that all out there. You sat in front of me in that chair. I felt so different, so alive. And who could forget all that curly hair? It was a private moment and a secret affair where I quietly proclaimed my love for her. Oh, those times of our lives, they can occur as quite a blur. An innocent kiss for the birthday girl changed my world. We were 6 months into a relationship. She was out of the country on a trip, a secret Skype call to ask for the blessing of her father and mother, looking to make an impression unlike any other. My Spanish was horrible. They could not understand. My vision of a warm embrace did not go quite as planned. Remember that time when you were out with your friends again? You had ordered that beer, and when you took that sip, you felt a little queer. Given your love for beer, it was weird. Your friends, their eyes go wide as they imply and certify the new cargo you're holding, beholding the new life that's now molding and unfolding inside of you. You tip over that domino, that feeling that you got to know, thinking now about what's so in this crazy game you're playing called life. So, do you know? She says as she sets you up on the bed. She begins to scan your belly, one blip on the telly as she moves and explores for more. Then the unexpected before my eyes go wide. She continues undirected. My face goes flush. The room goes hush. I look at you and shake my head in confusion. No longer an illusion. A new milestone in our life begins, filled with grins. Congratulations. You have twins. We have all experienced either personally or vicariously that moment of elation, joy, and euphoria that comes from the human love story. Whether it is a direct experience or the witness of one, it is in these moments that show us the feeling of what's possible when we embrace our human need to be loved and to love others without expectation, without condition. This is a story about restarts. We human beings, we are collectors of feelings. We archive our lives through albums and letters, notes of first loves and breakups, relationship makeups and wake-ups. Who here had a box of letters? And what do you remember as you reflect back? For me, it was a quiet night, not unlike any other. I found myself pulled to look and rediscover the pleasures, treasures, and pressures of my oppressors, mentors, and protectors documented through my shoebox of photos and letters. Little did I know it would be the last time. I was sleeping, and I could swear I was dreaming. The subtle sounds of a smoke detector beeping. I woke in a daze to a heavy haze that blanketed the apartment suite. It took me a few moments before it became concrete. I scrambled for my pants, ignoring my sweater. I can't believe I left it. I should have known better. It was right there beside my bed. Instead, I went for the back door. Time's smoky arms would disagree, and every time I tried to go back in, the door kept closing on me. It motioned for me to get free. I conceded and pleaded that my roommate find his own way out. Thick black smoke now pouring out as people retreat onto the street from the heat. Waiting outside my back door, eyes watching the floor and waiting before he finally peeks his head out of the I told you. Where he finally peeks his head out of the smoke, crawling on all fours. I grab him and we join in the lineup of people standing there in a daze, watching the blaze, waiting what felt like days. I collapse to my knees and watch in disbelief as time's dark thief continues to command his relentless choir fire through the building. But in that moment, I allowed him to take it all. I was freed by his need to fuel his greed, giving it all to him, present to the weights of the past lift off me, watching as the blank canvas presents itself before me. The opportunity for a new possibility. I spent many nights asleep on the floor of friends and family I did not know well, excited though, hoping it goes well, that the new seed planted grows well. It wasn't classy or flashy, but I was happy blazing my own trail. The experience of starting over for some can be a monumental achievement, a milestone for a new life filled with the power of creation. For others, it can bring you to your knees and keep you there. We are emotional beings, and our lives are driven by how we associate ourselves to those emotions. Some of our experiences are amazing. Some are self-sabotaging and need to be laid to rest. My roommate and I had very different experiences of that fire in two very different directions after that. The mind does interesting things when left unchecked and undirected. Like that fire, it can be the fuel that ignites your phoenix, or it can leave you petrified of what might happen next. My roommate prior to that fire had passed out in the bathroom from drinking. For a long time, he was battling with alcohol. After that blaze, he went into a tailspin. In some respects, that trauma had completely consumed him as he battled back to self-care and finding his worth again. He is one of the lucky ones to be able to say that. We both experienced extreme loss and trauma, and we both dealt with that loss in very different ways. One was not better or preferred, just mine and his. Here's a question for your reflection collection. If you had 30 seconds to get out the door, what would you take with you? What are those things you hold high in value? Are they really? Do you think you'd be able to get them in time? And if not, how would you treat that choice or the choices that led you up to that final moment? Okay, so a little about me. I am a dreamer and a joker, bored of the mediocre and what we're constantly told to do. This running comparative narrative. Don't forget to keep score. Make sure I've got my shit figured out before my missed opportunity comes knocking on the door. Never mind the fact that this man you see has barely had a chance to see what life is for me. And yet here I am doing it all, even if I would disagree, just to make everyone else feel better about me. No, my frame of mind was confined. My curiosity for life was undefined. But one thing I knew for sure, I love to explore the walls of pens and pencils at the art store. That sweet smell is one you can't ignore. You know where you are the second you walk through that door. For most of my life, even now, I struggle to connect, to relate, and debate with others, yet I'm clear I love to connect direct when I relate to others. It's life's juxtaposition and opposition. You should be more realistic. We encourage our young ones of dreaming to dream of swimming with the dolphins or going to space. But as we get older, those dreams are replaced with more pragmatic degrees in law, accounting, and practicing medicine, all noble and critical to us having gotten to where we're at now. To find your purpose, however, you must be willing to explore the unfamiliar and uncharted roads of the few. Take some time to explore your curiosities and be unreasonable. That is to say, to leave all those reasons as to why you shouldn't and explore why you should. Get out of the stands of your life and into the game. Practice the act of doing things that make you feel good for the sake of the fact that it makes you feel good. Oh, how about the voice? So you think you can face the chase and embrace the pace of what it takes to be creative, says the voice. Your path, your choice. But to be heard in this absurd, deferred world, bro, means you must know how to go with the flow. Grow to communicate past the hello and regardless of the implications. So don't just speed read the weary theory from textbooks and storybooks that can mislead. To be truly free, do not concede. We need to impede to succeed. Exchange in looks with each other on life's caged theater stage. Try your hardest to be present and not disengage. You see, we all play with the toys of creation inside this world of isolation, discrimination, and frustration. I work out my creative muscle, my communication. Every day I tussle and shuffle to unlock the puzzle. Just a suggestion as you start to question the lesson, here's another intervention for your reflection collection. You are here to challenge a notion, create a commotion, toy with an emotion or two. Should you do so, no, you'll grow. You'll start to do your parts to fill the gaps and traps of society and culture. What you discover will make a positive impact on another. You'll uncover how to really connect with your sister and your brother. Get to know your neighbor, savor the flavors, ignore the haters, be their saviors. Connect in such a deep and profound way, they'll never feel forgotten, led astray, or hide away. You see, to be gotten, that is the dream many stand in awe of, like a pond abandoned by the river. It is the plot of being too insightful, too careful, too concerned of what you'll be thought of. The opportunity, as you relate and engage in this developmental age, be different on life's stage and dare to care to inspire another. So, who runs the show in your world? Is it the strong man or woman, the person who hits the obstacle straight on without hesitation? Or is it the inner critic, the weak and feeble alter ego, the naysayer and breeder of self-doubt and staying where it's comfortable? When's the last time you held the gaze of someone you're speaking to? How well do you know those whom you call your friends, associates, and acquaintances? We are all creators. Your tools might not necessarily be a brush, and they could be, but you can certainly paint some powerful experiences with your words and your presence in the moment. There might be something deep down you want to change, speak up against, cause a ruckus around. How many times do you find yourself justifying not doing something when deep down inside you have this feeling you really should? Lord knows there's enough going on. Now is the time. Don't settle. The world will miss out on your greatness. Okay, here we go. So we're going to talk a little bit about religion. The position of religion. In the hands of many, it's a rifle, loaded and spiteful. I learned much from being a witness. There was a richness to the strictness. I was raised with a strong religious mission, raised to follow direction and share with those who would listen. It was restricting, at times conflicting. You're either in or you're out. You either doubt or you're devout. Do unto others as you'd have done unto you, but don't get too close and stay with a few. I was compelled to commit, keep composed within the constraints of the customs, do not connect or collide too much with those in the outside world. I was confused by my concerns. Deep down, I believe we were all capable of finding our way out of the precious messes we create, that there was something to be done, not just wait. And so I'd collect my comforts, unsatisfied by the answers given, driven by my decision, and pulled to uncover my own conclusions, substituting the institutions with revolutions and new resolutions. What principles and beliefs drive you? Do they really serve you? Or is it something you've adopted without question? Blind faith and the pursuit of your deeper reason for being are not the same thing. Whether in a small group setting or done on your own, our spiritual practices are fundamental to our well-being, and they need to be in balance. I had an all in or all out context for my spiritual practice for the entire time I was practicing what I was told I should practice. It was an extreme that I wasn't really present to, but I did not realize until much later, about 20 years. Having boundaries and barriers is important, as is the needing to feel the freedom of choice. As a father of twin 8-year-olds, I am both excited and petrified of that. But those concerns are not my children's to bear the weight of, because I bear the weight of those concerns. They are spiritual beings just like me who have come into this world on a journey of the human experience. When we confine and constrain to get someone to fit in a box or to fit inside a predetermined box ourselves, we choke off that which makes us unique. It requires an ongoing balance of control and unbridled freedom, of chaos and of order. It will be the hardest thing you will ever do, because we've all been put in boxes our whole lives. But we have a guide. Ask yourself, what is true for you? What makes you feel good when you do it? What ignites you, excites you, delights you? That truth will set you free. So, where were you the day before 9/11? Darkness was the last thing that I remember. A part of me wished I could have denied her as I woke up in hospital attire, present to the strain and intense pain in my mouth. Let me explain. I nearly bit through my tongue. The CT scan revealed something. The humming and pumping was numbing. For surely this must be a dream where I find myself running, that such a thing could not possibly be my world. You have a tumor in your brain, they said. Dread was bred that day, and it spread. The world relapsed, the Twin Towers collapsed, the Pentagon gets hit, and for a moment, we all submit. I made a pact with my best friend that if it came down to it, if the impact trapped me, he would act for me. If my life changed too drastically, he would guarantee to end my life peacefully, put a pillow over my face, let me pass with dignity, quickly and gracefully. Looking back, I don't think we could ever have done it, despite having brung it and slung it, and I'm grateful for his willingness to have discussed it, for each of us grapple within our own mind versions of that monster's devil tongue. I have one life, as far as I know, and there are many who are hopeful of a new life after death. They take on many forms. Some wait their entire existence for what's next or for the right time to pursue their big idea or dream. I find myself justifying my inactions often, that there is time to do that later. The time is now. On that day, I was given an opportunity. At the time, I did not consider that to be true. In fact, I carried on as if nothing significant happened in my life. I don't know why. I can't remember. But I needed to take that journey from there to here. Late bloomer? Possibly. But aren't we all? It was mine to discover as I experienced my life, almost died 3 times, lived, felt isolated, explored, traveled a bit, created, got married, had kids, not because that is how you do it, but because that is how I did it. What I understand now is that I am here for something. These moments in our lives are our greatest teachers and mentors if you allow them to be. Every other day, sometimes longer, I remind myself of the treasure that is life. And I remind myself of what I have and am aspiring to create, not giving attention to what's missing. Consistency in that practice will be my greatest achievement. Okay, this one might also be a bit emotional. This is from your eyes, and you know who you are. I regret my actions and reactions of that single transaction. I was not in the right mind, resigned and blind. I wish I could take back that day, just cut it away, like the many other days that overstayed, like the daily beatings I witnessed from the closet hidden away, like the day I found her, my love, just lying there, murdered at the hands of another, leaving me here to suffer and recover. I miss her. I love her. And I can't wait to see you again one day. I swore I would do better, be better, that this would not be the way, yet here I am in a new game of foul play. I wish I could just walk away, that it would all be okay. Then you jump in the back and it triggers the new screenplay. I squeeze the handle of the weapon under my jacket. We've been driving for a while now, smoked a little meth, our breath of death. For a moment, all our concerns faded away. For a moment, as we drove around, they all seemed a passing sway. For a moment, I actually wanted to stay. But then I looked at you, and I saw the shadow of the devil at play. I am his executioner this evening, judge and jury. The conversation pivots, his tempers rise in fury, shouting out demands for retribution, no absolution. He grabs the handle of the car door and works to get it open. In the explosion, in the chaos, I turn back and face him. In the chaos, I betray him. In the chaos, I squeeze the trigger. The sound settling was deafening. His eyes go wide, my ears ring out and cry. Everything slows down. Johnny leans out of the car door and falls to the floor. As the engines roar, we leave him there to die. And in that moment, I can't even remember why. You promised. Do you remember? I was the only one there when you took to the stand, and my left hand gripped tight as if trying to keep closed the tear glands, watching the second narrative of me lunging at you from where I stand for a split second before I crash land. I take full responsibility for my actions, you said. I could see my brother lying there on the ground as he bled. We all lost something that night, and you bear the weight of that night every night as you sit tight. What do you think about, I wonder, as you lay there in your cell? What do you do every day in sobriety that has you honor your word to be a positive contribution to our society? That journey is high stakes, a twisted road filled with nothing certain as we carry our beasts of burden. So, what fuels you, this truer view? What drives you, I wonder? Your journey can be rich if you can let go and forgive yourself. Let go of the secrets you keep and scare you. Take that leap as steep as it is deep and break through. Avoid what you're used to. Create a new worldview to live up to, and know that you will reap what you sow. My brother fought with his mental illness like so many others, feeling alone. The reality from my perspective is that we are all one or two traumatic experiences away from our own mental illness. We are fragile creatures. We all just want to be loved, heard, and understood. Yet so often we hold on to these moments and do not let go, feel we can't let go, wish we could only just let go. Like a monkey who gets trapped and caught by putting his hand in the cage to grab the tasty banana and does not let go when the many opportunities present itself. We let our pride and our justifications for how we must hang on trap us indefinitely. The most radical choice we can make is to decide to take the door that we intuitively feel will fuel our dreams. Whether it's where you are, what you decide to do, or who you choose to have around you, choose powerfully and with certainty to close the doors that prevent you from focusing on what matters for you. Time is ours to do with what we please, to turn our dreams into sourceful missions and values that drive value in this world. In the end, it's your path, your choice. So I'm going to end this with one more poem. It's a piece that I wrote to remember the misfit poet, my brother, Jonathan Schmeichel, who struggled for almost 30 years with his mental illness and was taken from us in cold blood. Today is a great day. Today is unlike any other in every way, and I honor you, my brother, on this day because today is a great day. Those who knew him knew he lived in the moment and dared to care to inspire another. I'm pouring a drink on the streets to the misfit who was unlike any other, the poet who hit us all so profoundly with his wit, and now that it's missed, we all know it. He'd say, stop tripping for all you hustling to make a living. In our mind creates our reality, and in it we're given what we ask for. And today is a new day, a great day in every way. It's here to stay, so will you make it play? It will not be like yesterday, no action replay, and it cannot be tomorrow, so don't play in the sorrow. There are no better days, just today's. Today is ready for me in the next chapter in my story. I am ready to explore it. I will not ignore it or store it for a better time because today is a good day to be a good day by my design. Today is a day for me to hold the space to feel good and remove all conditions that can be misunderstood, to sample life and what it has to offer, exploring what brought her, what taught her, and applaud her like she was my son or daughter. Today is a good day, void of condition and full of appreciation. Today is a time to be overjoyed for this generation of conversation and determination. Today is a day for celebration. Today is a good day, and I'm tuned into who I really am, and I will look for reasons to feel good, and I will find them. Thank you for listening. I'm trying to give you control here. Bear with me.
Wow. I don't think in my whole life, up to now or from now, I'll ever find a better use for the word wow. And yet it seems woefully inadequate. Oh, man, thank you. I don't even know where to go with that. And I appreciate your bravery. So a bunch of stuff stood out for me. One of the things I wrote was I was biking just the other day, 2 days ago, in fact, and I was enveloped by the spring perfume of new growth. And that just happened again with your words. They're like all around me, they're permeating me like a sponge. And I'm sure they're going to stick with me forever. Wow. And without knowing which word in particular or which combination of words that caused it, you've changed me. And I think maybe you've changed all of us. So some of the things that really stood out, what are the beliefs that are driving you? What delights you? And coming to terms with those questions. Just a quick sidebar, David. I think your poetry is why hugs were created. I'm sorry you're not in the room with us, with me. I also took away, I'm here for something. Everyone on this call, all 90 of us, are here for a reason. And I really like what you said was to create a new worldview. You get to decide. Mm-hmm. I was also compelled by, obviously, the intense emotion of everything you shared with us. And then that question you asked, with only 30 seconds to grab and go, what would you grab? You know, I wrote in my book about this billboard that I'd seen on Sarcee Trail when they had them, and there was a picture of a gray-haired guy driving a ragtop Mercedes with It's the tagline, the mark of a man is in what he drives. That guy had 30 seconds to grab what was most important. Would he grab the keys for his Merc? Oh man, thank you so much for that. It's going to be a lifetime unpacking it. Jen, is there anyone on our chat line?
Well, if everyone's wiped away their tears, just watching the crowd while you were speaking, even the ones that were muted, and I'm sorry, even the ones who have their cameras off, I know there was emotion there, and next time we'll have to make sure everyone gets a delivery of a box of Kleenex. David, I couldn't keep up fast enough with what you were saying. I'm trying to pull quotes, and I was paying attention and I got lost. So everyone will get a recording of this this whole event, and please go back and find those nuggets. There are no questions here other than the wows and the people are saying how amazing you are and how your expression has impacted them. I think that was the point of today, in what we wanted to achieve here, and for everyone to take something home with them. And so far, all of our speakers have done just that. And your emotion and your piece behind it, the way that you shared so vulnerably is incredible. There is one question. First of all, everyone likes your hat.
You can buy them, by the way.
And I posted the links. Everyone can buy them if you want to. There's a couple of really cool ones on your website. Also, are your poems available online? Where can we find more of you? Because now we're all in love with you.
Yeah, so I do have a YouTube channel. So a lot of that stuff is pushed there, and I'm pretty active on my social media, and just exploring this in an ongoing capacity. One of my big objectives is to use this type of performance and storytelling to help people get to the heart of what matters for them, right, as people. So there will be more, and some of this stuff is up already.
If you could share your YouTube and all of your links in the chat, that would be great. I have posted your website. It's davidschmeichel.com.
Mm-hmm.
I know that we can find you on, if we just Google you, we can find you. But if you have direct links, that would be great. Also, we have a question. How have you, it skipped. How have you learned to quiet the inner critic?
Oh yeah, he never is quiet. He is always there. Again, it's just a choice. So I get reconnected to why I'm doing what I'm doing. And there is a process in which I've done that for myself and for others, much like Jennifer and Crystal. Like there's these anchoring, and they're written, right? They are tangible, physical things, points of reference to remind me of why I'm doing what I'm doing. And also community. So to have the right people in my corner to help me push through and stop trying to rationalize the inner narrative, because we rarely are capable of doing that truly on our own, at least up until a certain point. So community is critical.
Thank you for that. Another question, do you have to go to the depths of despair to find the freedom you have?
This question is fascinating for me because I actually didn't know what was going on in those moments, whether it was the house fire, the brain tumor, a few other circumstances in my life that were life-threatening. I just reacted in those moments. I just did what I did, and there was an automatic nature to it. So for me, it wasn't about being in a depth of despair. There was just a walking through it, almost obliviously walking through it. Now, in looking back, there is a potential to be locked in some of that despair, like when I lost my brother. But there are tools. I think the big thing for me was understanding how this works. We are not given a manual for how our minds work, yet we're expected to live life and have it all dialed in, like we've got all our shit together. It's a load of crap. It doesn't, our school systems are not adequate and equipped for that. So there were programs that I took that helped me begin to unravel what was going on up here. And so that empowered me more. And it's a process, right? There years and years of just realizing it and constantly grappling with self-worth. I think you have to have those moments of tribulation and things that aren't working, because it is in those contrasting experiences of what worked and what didn't. If everything always worked, would life be fulfilling? Like I don't think so, right? We need to be able to have it contrast with what we don't want, what doesn't work, to have it be filling and meaningful for us. So it's all in how we decide to look at it, those moments.
Okay, and then another question is just related to that. Which programs did you take? Did you mention which ones you were taking?
One of the main ones that really impacted me and my wife, and just how I was able to take on all of these crazy circumstances, was Landmarks programs, their personal development programs. So highly recommend those. And there are many out there that achieve that, have been around for a while, that does that kind of work.
Thanks. I just put that in the chat box. Yeah, I've heard of those. Those have had a lot of impact on a lot of people. So congratulations.
They have, yeah.
On completing this. Okay, a question from Martin, a double question. With so many paths that we can choose, how do you know which one is truly ours, and how to narrow down your options?
This is an easy question, an easy answer rather, and much like Crystal shared. So there is a self-selection process, and it is about, well, what's true for you? Well, how do you feel when option A, B, and C are presented? How are you feeling with each of them? And if we are willing to spend the time to really pay attention to how we're feeling, intuitively, we know which direction we should go, we want to go. There is a feeling of, well, I should go this way, but that's not necessarily the direction to go. That's all influencing by our surroundings and people and circumstances. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just, if it's not what's true for you, that deep down you feel like this is it, that you trust yourself, trust your gut, those are the self-selecting course corrections that will move us in that direction. You have to trust it, though.
I can't keep up with you. You're so fast. Hold on. I need to get some faster typing skills when we're with you, David.
And thank you, everybody, for all your kind words. I'm reading them all, and
okay, so
impacted.
One more question. Were you always able to show vulnerability, or was that learned over your experience?
There was a time where I would say I was being vulnerable, and I wasn't. But I'm pretty sure I was vulnerable. And then I realized that I wasn't. And so the process of vulnerability is one of just, it's like an onion, right? You just keep pulling it apart and be like, oh, I wasn't being vulnerable there. I come from a generation of proud Germans who they're not vulnerable. Oh my God, no. And so I got to pull those layers apart, because there was something that was missing. Again, this intuitive feeling like, no, there's more here. So there was a courage, a building up of courage over time, that I should just say this. Oh, I really don't want to say this. I should say it. Don't say it, man. I'm going to say it. And I say it. Now, to be responsible for what I'm saying as well, right? And this is the practice. So my only recommendation in that is, all of us can do this, can be can stand for something that is really important for them. And it takes courage, and you got to be willing to walk, right? To get on the bike and start pedaling, even though you've never ever been on a bike before, and get that it's going to be rocky, but you don't give up. We don't tell our little kids and our children to not keep trying to walk when they fall. We say, get up. Okay, try it again. And there's joy there, right? There's excitement. We build excitement for them. It's like, oh, come on, do it again. But that gets killed or stifled or boxed, as we get older. It's pervasive everywhere, right? We're influenced by everything. And so it is in being brave and really standing confidently and courageously for those things that we just feel are important, and keep doing it, right? And again, have the right people around you. Hey, get up. Yeah, I get you fell. Get up. Those people are critical. We can't do this on our own. There's 100 people on this call, right? My voice, if it was just me, what kind of impact is that going to make? Going to make me feel better, but it's in you hearing my words where the impact is really being made. That's the opportunity.
Okay, we are running out of time, but I am going to have one last question for you, and then everyone will have a chance. I'll again post your contact information so people can get in touch with you. I'm sure you're going to be bombarded with emails. One more. Can you talk more about the mind, gut, heart connection and alignment? And then we'll throw it back to Richard.
I don't know if I can talk very much about it other than pay attention to it. It's there. Yeah, it is telling us stuff, and our overly stimulated intellectual mind has become really, really loud. So pay attention, meditate, right? To do these practices that are not easy. Meditation is not about calming the mind. It's just about being present and getting that the mind's part of it, and then checking into your gut, right? Like we just got to have a pulse on it again. And it's a practice like anything. That would be my only thing.
David, thank you.
Thank you.